and I told her she needs to join this committee, so this is her first visit tonight.
Well, we're glad to have you.
This is Judy Hauser, and this is her first time, and this is Carolyn O'Bannon.
Well, welcome to both of you. Welcome. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Karen Goff. This is her first time with us.
All right, welcome, Karen. Yes.
I'd like to introduce Sunny McClellan. She's from Pulaski County.
Frank Darrell Stevens, Pulaski County.
Welcome, Daryl.
So I have Gil Tomlinson with us. This is his second visit.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Glad you're here, Gil. He's already, go ahead.
He already paid it.
Yes.
So.
And you have another guest?
And then I have two more. I have my sister, Jennifer Smith,
Okay.
and my dear friend, Angie Robertson.
All right. Good to have you. Yes, Teresa.
My brother, Jerry Ballou.
Yes.
I have my dear friend Israel Aaron here tonight.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, so we have a few people that we need to vote in. Gil Tomlinson, he's been here before and he has filed his paperwork and paid his money. Also tonight, Rita Hall. This is her second visit. She has filled out her paperwork and paid her money. And Tim Shields, right here in the front. He didn't stand up this time. I guess you've been here so many times you don't feel like a guest anymore. But he has filed his paperwork and paid his money. So these three we will be voting in this evening. So all of those in favor of voting these three people into our membership, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Welcome. We're glad to have you all as members. Okay, so tonight, as we discussed at our previous meeting, all proceeds from tonight are going to our outreach committee. Our outreach committee will be working with the AACA. They will be going on college campuses, and the point is to recruit Republicans. Right? So I believe that Mr. Jim Bell is going to give us a quick, just a 2-minute update on where the committee is. He is the committee chair, so I'm going to give you the microphone.
Thank you. We hope that maybe with the outreach committee and y'all, maybe we could do something about Pulaski County being one of the highest Democrat counties in Arkansas. We think that if we can get an education load to places like colleges, churches, community centers, where we can compare policies, in today's times, especially radical, as the Democratic Party has become, we think a whole lot of people that just say, I'm a Democrat, change their mind. So if any of y'all have any desires to help us, either through getting us to churches to listen, a community center, college, we're just glad to help. Thank you.
Okay, we have a few elected officials here tonight. I've seen Representative David Ray and Representative Carolyn Brown. Do you all have any updates that you need to share with the committee? Any updates on anything? You don't have to if there's nothing going on. I just, if you have something.
I'll just be real quick. Probably the two big things that are going on right now are implementation of the LEARNS Act and the situation with the state surplus. So, with regard to the LEARNS Act, the Legislative Council this week passed some emergency rules so that we can get the first year of the education freedom accounts implemented. As you guys know, we passed a universal school choice bill earlier this year that's going to be phased in over 3 years. So in year 1, we passed the emergency rules so that we can get that going. There have already been 3,400 applications to that program. And you got to remember, because of the lawsuit, they had to pause accepting the applications. So really, the application period's been open less than a month, and they've gotten 3,400 applications. You also got to remember, year 1, the eligibility is pretty narrow. So I find those numbers to be really encouraging. The second thing with LEARNS is the ongoing lawsuit, just something to monitor. I'm not on the court. I'm not submitting briefs to the court. I can't really tell you exactly where that stands other than, we should expect a ruling from the Supreme Court in the not too distant future. And then the third thing to keep an eye on is this referendum petition related to rules. The left is trying to repeal LEARNS via a citizens referendum, also known as a citizens veto. So I would encourage everybody to not sign that. And if you communicate to your friends, don't sign that. I don't think that it will make it to the ballot, but you never know. So that's the third thing going on with LEARNS. On the surplus, DFNA announced the other week, you may have seen the stories in the paper, that the state ended the fiscal year with a $1.1 billion surplus. When I see a surplus of that nature, that tells me the government has collected way too much money from the citizens. And this is the third year in a row the state has collected either $1 billion surplus or a very close to $1 billion surplus. And so, if you've read my comments in the paper, I've said we need to have a special session to lower tax rates and return a bunch of that money to the taxpayers. We've already pre-spent some of that surplus from the last session because we're building a new state prison, which was badly needed. We've had prison overcrowding for almost a decade, so we're building a new state prison. We're building a new crime lab. That's been really needed for a long time because the courts are bogged down by not having a crime lab that can operate at full capacity and process these rape kits and DNA samples and all these sorts of things. So we've pre-spent some of this money trying to fix our criminal justice system, but there's still a little over $700 million in surplus from this year that hasn't been spent. So I'm working on some proposals right now that would lower our income tax rate anywhere from 0.2 to 0.7%. And I think sometime between now and the fiscal session, which will be February or March of next year, we will see some form of tax relief, hopefully some big time tax relief. So.
I got a question. Just throwing this out there for potential consideration, between the city of Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Pulaski County, as applicable to most of us, has some of the highest sales tax in the state, 9%, up to 10. I think Jacksonville is at 11. Is there any potential that we lower the sales tax, which is a more regressive tax?
So that's probably a longer answer than I have time for, but the short version is we have the third, if you combine state and local sales tax, we have the third highest sales tax in the entire country. It's 9.47%. A big part of that is because our local sales taxes keep inching higher and higher. There's several reasons for this. One is the local sales taxes keep inching higher and higher. So I was the author of the bill to reform the special election process to try and rein some of that in. So we've taken some steps to do that. I also authored a bill last session to require any new A&P tax or an increase in the rate of an A&P tax to be approved by the voters. That's a sales tax on top of a sales tax. The other problem is, frankly, over the years, we have continued to put sales taxes into our state constitution. I think that's been a mistake. And so it becomes really difficult to change things that are in the Constitution. So I think it's easiest to cut income taxes because it's pretty straightforward, and there's less, there's no local income taxes, thankfully. So we have much more control of that at the state level. But also, economically speaking, look, all taxes suck, right? Nobody likes taxes. They're all damaging on some level, economically speaking. But income taxes are more economically damaging than sales taxes, because what you're disincentivizing when you tax income is you're disincentivizing labor and work and job creation and productivity, and what you're disincentivizing when you tax sales is you're disincentivizing consumption. And we want people to save and invest, so we don't want people to spend all their money. But some consumption is good, right? We want people to spend money in restaurants so that people can have jobs and all this sorts of things. So it's a great topic for a longer conversation. We'd be happy to visit with you more detail.
Here's an innovative idea. Maybe we could loan some money to Republicans that wanted to run for representative or state or U.S. senator office, because they might not be able to afford it. Is there any way we could work a deal like that with
Loan money to them?
loan money to the Republicans? Yeah, because I can't afford it.
Probably not from the state, but maybe a bank might take you up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative. Quorum court updates. Is there anything going on in the quorum court? I believe we have 2 justices of the peace here.
Yeah, thank you all. Really quick, last year, the sheriff's office came to the quorum court budget committee asking to add 26 new deputies to our sheriff's force. And the cost on that, when you look at salaries, you look at the vehicles, you look at equipping those officers, and then you look at the, okay. Is that better? Do I need to start over? I'm kind of loud here. All right. So anyway, when you look at all that, to add 26 new officers, it's going to be to the tune of about $2 million of your tax money. Wow. The sheriff wanted 2 people in every car patrolling the incorporated parts of the county. Now, we see state troopers all day long with 1 officer in the car. We see city police, the same thing. So bottom line is that the budget committee commissioned a study. He said, hey, there's not been a study done related to the enforcement branch in the unincorporated part of Pulaski County since the early 90s, basically 30 years ago. Because we want to get this right. We want to make sure that we have the information and the analytics that we need to make the decisions. So we recently received that report back from the consulting firm. Just this past Tuesday night, the budget committee convened, and we were provided with that report. I will tell you, it's pretty big. It's going to take some absorbing. But at the end of the day, the report came back and said that we really, in order to do business right, we needed to reorganize the enforcement branch. So it will kind of be up to the sheriff whether or not he is willing to go down that road. And I can say as a member of being one of 15 on board, that I'm not going to throw more money at the situation unless he is willing to do the other half of reorganizing the department and how to do business. So that's really the biggest thing that we have going on right now. I do think it's important that, we have backup for our deputies when they encounter a situation where they need backup. But every traffic stop does not need a backup. And that's kind of the idea that the sheriff was pressing on. So that is the thing. It's something that we will throughout August and September, and moving into our budget hearings in the fall 2024 budget will continue to take up and to craft and to work with the sheriff to come up with a feasible option. And at this time, I want to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Becca Davis, and Becca, give an update.
I don't have an update. We still need a Republican candidate for District 3 for the Foreign Court. It is a very winnable Republican district. Republicans have held this seat before. So it's in District 3, you can get your maps. I can get you walking lists, that you're knocking on Republican doors who will vote in the primary. We have got to get a Republican that seat. You will not see any major changes in this court until we get more Republicans on board.
Thank you for the updates. So now for the speaker that you all have been waiting for. I don't even need to tell you who she is. She's awesome. She's a patriot. She has been fighting for the people for so long, and I'm so proud to call her friend, and she's been a mentor, somebody I've looked up to, one of the people that's just been there whenever I've had questions or needed something. I know that I can call her. And she has an awesome gun class. So, none other than Jan Morgan is here tonight. Let's welcome her.